Hey everyone, and welcome back to Placemaking in the Algorithm. I'm Waitu.
And I'm Enrique, and today we're taking you into the space that don't always make it onto planning maps, but are blowing up on TikToks. Welcome to Backstreets and Vibes.
This episode is about food, fashion, and the spaces in between. The alleys, sidewalks, market stalls, and secondhand shops that shape how identity and urban culture get performed, especially in Johannesburg.
Let's go thrifting, but sure me. So depending on where you're from, you're obviously gonna take your transportation to Joburg CBD. I use the hot train because it's gonna drop me off exactly at Park Station. And that's where I can access my bags and basically the entrance or the exit to the thrift market. If you use the click exit like I did, this will be your POV. And then this is another angle. And another angle if you're coming from north. This is exactly what you should see, guys. You see, I'm even zooming in MTN. See? I risked my whole life on phone, guys, with this video, so like, anyways, I always encourage people to wear their leggings so that when you find something that you like, it's easy, man. You can just try it on instead of you taking it home and then. Also, you must take along your best friends, so they can tell you to grab or not. And one thing you must never do is to skip those 7 rand signs, guys, because you don't know the jams that you can find, literally. One thing about me, I will stop at every stall because the aim is to shop till I drop. There's a couple of tailors that you will find there sitting. So if you find anything that's like long or it's too tight or too loose, you can literally give it to them and then they can alter it for you. This was such a successful thrifting vlog. I can't wait to show you guys everything that I got. Also, don't forget.
Picture this: you're walking through downtown Johannesburg. You pass a man roasting mealies in Hillbrow, a thrift store displaying jackets like they're on a runway. There's a queue forming at a Nigerian jollof store on Rocky Street. Now, open TikTok. The same spaces are there, but transformed, curated, narrated, turned into content.
And that's what we mean by backstreets and bios. The places people don't always plan for become visible, valued, and even romanticized through social media.
Let's ground this in some theory. In traditional planning, these places, market corners, container stores, backyard salons, are often dismissed as informal or temporary. But as Matamande 2021 argued, these are legitimate sites of cultural production and spatial meaning.
In fact, they're what some call informal infrastructures. They might not have permits, but they support entire microeconomies. And now, thanks to platforms such as TikTok, they also generate symbolic capital. That's visibility, aesthetic value, and urban identity currency.
If you're looking for something unique to do in Johannesburg this weekend, get out of town and visit our most famous township, Soweto. You can check out Sikumzi, which is a super popular restaurant on Vilakazi Street. There are some shops and vendors on Vilakazi Street, so you can do a bit of shopping if you like. I got a really cute traditional skirt. I'm so excited to wear it. But you can get a bunch of earrings or just souvenirs. If you're in the area, you have to visit Mandela House. It's 40 Rand per person for South Africans and just a little taste of his home in Soweto. I worked up an appetite, so I headed to Vuyo's restaurant for lunch. I sat inside first, but the music outside was such a vibe, so I moved. The food was amazing. It had the lamb hoiki as well as the mogodu. We ended off the day at the Orlando Towers, and they have a really cool restaurant bar there. It's called Chef Pawsy, and it's a super local Shebeen vibe. Really cool. And lastly, past the Orlando Stadium where the soccer was happening.
Now, let's bring in Henry Lefebvre again. Remember what he said? Space is produced through lived experiences, representation, and practice. So when someone styles themselves in a vintage jacket, films it on Commissioner Street, and posts it with the moody filter, that's not just a selfie, that's spatial production.
And not just of the South, but of the city. The thrift stores become an aesthetic landmark. The corner becomes symbolic, and through likes, shares, and reposts, a place is layered with cultural meaning, even if the planning department sees it as a problem area.
But the most beautiful things in life are not just things. They're people and places, memories and pictures. They're feelings and moments. and smiles and laughter.
This is what Doreen Massey means when she says that space is relation. It's not a backdrop. It's a stage that is co-produced through movement, emotion, and spatial practice.
And the stories we tell, especially through digital platforms, make the space. In this case, the bio is both your TikTok profile and the narrative you write into the city.
Let's talk food. Street food isn't just nourishment, it's identity work, and TikTok loves food. Just search Joburg Eats and you'll see it. Kota shops, Gatsby sandwiches, spicy wings.
And these aren't just reviews, they're emotionally storytelling. Think about it. When someone records their gogo making back or zooms in on chakalaka bubbling in the pot, they're saying, this is who I am and this is where I come from. That's emotional placemaking. And it speaks to what Sandercock calls the importance of non-rational knowledge, sound, taste, texture, and memory.
But we have to be honest, not all spaces are equally visible online. The algorithm rewards certain aesthetics, clean shots, symmetrical lines, bright colors, light skin, and cool clothes. What happens to the places that are too raw, too dark, too noisy?
And this is where Sandercock's work hits again. Planners and now influencers have the power to exclude through silence. If a space isn't featured, it might as well just not exist, you know? But just because it's not viral doesn't mean it's not vital.
So where does planning fit in? Do planners ignore these creators? Do they regulate them? Or do they learn to read the city through TikTok? To treat posts as data, reels as narratives, and bios as testimonies?
We say planning must begin to listen. What we call placemaking is already happening through dances on rooftops, food montages from kiosks, fit checks in black alleys. These are special claims.
They're saying we are here, we belong, and this is our space.
So when we ask what makes a place matter, we also have to ask who's narrating it, who's being heard, and who's being seen.
Whether it's a chisanyama, a thrift rack, or a courtyard covered in graffiti, Backstreets hold bios. They're full of stories, identities, performances, and dreams.
And the more we scroll, the more we shape those spaces, not just digitally, but in how we value them on the ground as well.
That's it for today's episode, Backstreet and Bios. We explored how informal food and fashion economies shape urban space and perform identity, especially in Johannesburg's everyday landscape.
Next week, we go deeper into the tech side. The algorithm is a planner, how virality, visibility, and digital infrastructure shape the way cities are navigated and designed.
Thanks for listening, and remember, cities aren't just planned, they're performed.